Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Card Craft. Thanks for joining me again today. Another one sheet wonder. You know how I've got to use these 12 by 12 scrapbook papers that I've got. And I've got so many, and I know you do too. The other thing I have so much of, is gutted books. You know, I like to use my book pages. And I love to gut them, and I'll use them up, I'll pull them apart, and I love to use the covers as the covers of my journal. But I'm getting quite a collection of pre-gutted books. So what we're doing today is using both. Our scrapbook paper, one sheet. You can make lots of these and use up lots of sheets. But we're going to use our 12 by 12 sheet, and we're going to use part of a gutted book. So it's just a little trifold. So it's literally just one sheet with a little notepad in it that slots into its own little belly band. Now you can see I've used a book that I had sitting on my desk for my book pages, so I've used, this one was wonderful. It had chapters, named chapters. So I used them everywhere. So I've used them as all my embellishments, and then I ran out and I had to actually stamp something. That just sits in there like so. I've used them here. I've used them on the back of my tags, going down here back into my chapters. If we close this, I've used there, the front cover. Some others, I did grab out some little labels and stuff as well that I had. I have a little container sitting on my desk. That's always sitting on my desk with odds and sods from labels, usually from Which Craft Do You Do, because I've usually been working on something for that. And then on the back, we've got more book page, more chapter, and another tag. The other thing that I wanted to do with this is that I have a collection of tags. So whether I get them given to me from friends that have got clothing labels, I'll get them whenever I get a Which Craft Do You Do order. They've always got a couple of tags in there as well. I've got tags that I've pre-cut. I've got tags that I've purchased. Don't ask me why. But I have this little container that was meant to have a few tags in it. As you can see, it is full. Some of them I've been playing with. I've even got tag templates in there. Some of them are, you know, old Christmas ones that I will play around with. Clothing ones, as I've said before, I've got good friends that keep all their clothing ones for me. But this was starting to get overrun. That's the other reason why I did this one. And I shoved so many different tags in it. So I've got a tag there. 1, 2, 3, so that's 4, 5, 6. I ended up using 6 tags out of there. Yay! So, quick and easy. Now, I've also got one here that I've started, but we're just going to get on with it now. That's a slightly smaller size. I did this using the full 12 by 12. But what happened was that partway through, once I'd folded, worked out my sizes and all the rest, I realised that's not actually going to fit into any of the journals that I normally do. I know, right? So this would be about the height of journals that I tend to do. It's going to fill the whole thing, and I would slot that in and it would sit up. It's going to sit up a little bit. Most of my journals, I've got another one here. Hang on a moment. I like small little journals. I love the journals that you can hold in one hand. So this is one that I've been working on for a while. It's still in the process of being done. I don't think I've done any of the last signature at all. Done the back cover, and I've used an actual book cover for this one as well. Hence why I have so many gutted books. But I like little ones. That's just a me thing. So I've done a slightly smaller one. So our first one, of course, because we've got to take out our section for here and here. So my overall measurement for this one is 4.5 inches, or about 11.5 centimetres, by 8 inches, which is a bit over 20 centimetres. Most of my journals, the finished size is 5 by 7. Something like this is just a little bit too bulky, chunky to go into a pocket or anything else in one of those journals. So I then started making a smaller one. Now this is my size. As you can see, it's only part done. I have started, so I've got a pocket in here, 2 little pockets in there, and these are all odd pieces of book page because these were the ones that were sitting on my desk from other projects, and I had a pile over there and a pile over there. So this one's a smaller one, and this one measures 3 3/4 inches or 9.5 centimetres by 6 inches or 15 centimetres. So it's almost photo size. So we can make them any size that you want. Anything that will fit your, I'm going to move that out of the way, that will fit the journals that you do, because I imagine them to go into a journal. So here's another piece of scrapbook paper. Isn't that beautiful? These have all been done from the same range, by the way. I know, right? I've got so many odds and sods sitting around. The only thing I have done with this one is that I have trimmed off the barcode strip. Okay, so that is now trimmed off. So this is the page. As I said before, it's been trimmed off. I can't see where it was trimmed off, depending on what bit I like. And I want the blue, this on the outside, like that. So let's have a look and see which way I want to go. It's not really going to make much difference. I'm going to lose this corner, this lovely grungy corner, no matter what. Okay, I'm just putting it out there. So this one, I don't want that full height. So if I lay this back on here, you'll see this was just about the full height. So can you see where that goes from there to there? I don't want it that full height, so I'm going to knock it back just a little bit. Not going to knock it back as much as the other one, but we're going to take, I don't know, a little bit off the top just to start with. I took 2 inches off the top before because we're going to measure and fold 2 inches from the top and 2 inches from the bottom. So if I leave this at, say, I just want to explain why we're doing this. So as you know, it's a 12-inch piece of paper. If we cut 2 inches off, we're left with 10 inches top to bottom. If I score 2 inches down and I score 2 inches up, we're left with 6 inches in the middle. We want to go a little bit higher than that, so I might just take off an inch from the top, okay? So we're just going to mark and measure that. You know me, I'm going to use my blade because my little guillotine is not big enough and I've got no room on my desk for a larger one. I do like guillotines, but there's no room on my desk at the moment for a larger one. So we're just going to trim that bit off, and then we can measure and mark and score at 2 inches top and bottom. So there's that, and I will probably use that strip in all sorts of things. So I'm going to pull up my scoreboard because it's quicker. Now, that's the piece that we just chopped off, so you can see it's now longer than higher. We're going to turn it that way, okay, so that my longer side is top to bottom, because I want to score 2 inches down here and 2 inches down there. So I'll just get this out. Right, so if I sit that right in there, if you don't have a scoreboard, just use your ruler, and I'm going to go back 2 inches, so it's on 11. 1, 2, so I'm going to score at the 9-inch point. I want to fold it that way, so we're going to go that way with it. Valleys become mountains, mountains become valleys, etc. So down to 9 inches. I was right in the first place. Yeah, you know me. Down to 9 inches, go the other way. And then at 2. So I'm just going to swing it around so that it's sitting here and I'm not going cack-handed for you. So the top and the bottom have now been scored. And then I did it around the other way anyway. So that's going to fold down, that one's going to fold down, and what we're left with is this measurement in the middle, which should give us, yes, 7 inches. So our total height will be 7 inches. So that's our top and bottom. We also want to make score marks in this. So this one's going to fold over, and this one's going to fold over. I'm turning it over. This is where you need to work out the width that you want. So I quite like that 4-inch mark. This one was 4 inches. This one was a little bit wider. I think he was 4.5. Yeah. The 4-inch mark works well for me because it fits in my journals. It's up to you what you want. You're not going to be able to go much more than 4.5. But, so we're just going to stick with the 4. So our first scoring line is at 4 inches. From the left-hand side, I'm going to go down 4 inches. Okay. And then I'm going to go across 4 inches. I want, that one's going to be cut back a little bit, which will give me a strip, or you could have just scored it at 3.5, 3 3/4, depending on how far you want that over to go. I'm going to do it this way so that we can trim it back so you can see what I mean. This one I want a little bit smaller as well, but at this stage I'm just going to score it at that 4-inch mark again. It might be easier for you guys if I just do it that way, I think. That's it. So we've scored 2 inches from the top, 2 inches from the bottom, and we've just done even 4 inches, 4 inches, 4 inches, so that we've got the 3, okay? Might make it a little bit easier that way. What we're going to do is fold this one, which is our left-hand side one, in on that score line. See how it just folds straight over? Making sure your lines are nice and straight up here. Give that a push with burnisher of some sort, be it your bone scorer, a butter knife, whatever. Fold him back out. Score this, or push this one over. Score him down. Like so. While we're at it, we're going to fold these ones over. See how they've automatically just wanted to crease up. Anyway, folding him over. Make sure it's nice and straight. This is where you can realign if you need to, if you've got a slightly wonky one. Same with this one. Lift it up. It'll go into that fold spot nicely and down. So now what we've got is all this folded. And if we look at this side, it is really hard to see. This is the other reason why I like inking. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to carefully, not even carefully, just push them back on themselves, and I'm just going to run this straight down. Turn him round, fold it back on itself, go along that fold line. So now I can see exactly where those fold lines are. Back down that one. That's that one, and of course our bottom one. Like so. Right, that's all we're inking at the moment, because we're going to start making some cuts. So with this one, we need this corner taken out, this corner taken out, this corner taken out, and this corner taken out. Now, when you do that, I'm just looking for my little ruler. What you'll need to do is take this. You can see, I'm hoping you can see. See how we've got this crease line? That's why I've inked it, so you can see it even better. See how it's quite wide? We want to take this cut to this side of it. Okay? So we're going to take that out. So I'm going to run my ruler up the inside line of that fold, and I'm going to go from where the cross is straight down. Okay, and I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. Look up there, you can see me. Same with this, and I'm going to go on the other side of that fold line. and take that section out. And we're just going to work our way through so that we've got those sections taken out. And look, we make lots of little trifold journals, and we do this every time to make them because it gives you either a bag, if you're doing a bag, same sort of thing. So once we've got these out, so I told you we'd lose all that wonderful grunginess. So let's say we were making a bag out of this. You wouldn't worry about the top ones, of course, but your bottom ones, if that was folded over there and that was folded over there, that one's going to come up there, which would give you your bag. Same sort of principle. It allows you to fold. I want to go on the inside of that one. I've done him. It allows you to fold, and it allows the, I was going to say fabric there. Wow. The paper to not get too bulky. So you're taking out that bulk. So we're going to go to this one. Down there. And our last one, which is up here. And that one's now gone. Right, so this is what we're left with now. Now's the time to work out your other measurements. Now, this, of course, is going to fold up there. We're going to play with those. That one's going to go there. This one's going to fold over there. I don't want it all the way into that crease. So, if you want to, when you're scoring it, make allowances for those. And you've got a piece at the extra at the end that you can cut off. Otherwise, we're just going to trim off a little bit. You'll find with mine, I've, almost got 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 centimetre to 1 centimetre. I think I've got that on both of them, just to allow me room to manoeuvre so that they're not sitting right in that crease. So I'm just going to take about that much. What would that be? 1/2 centimetre, 1/4 of an inch. I'm just going to go by eye. I'm not going to worry about measuring all of it. Right, so I've just taken off that strip. Now that has allowed that to fold in here. This one, again, folds all the way over. I don't want this to finish all the way over. Now with this one, I've cut it back about 1 inch and I've put a tab on it. This one, I've put a little area. Now, if you've got a die cutting machine, you might have a metal die that will cut that shape, or a little trendy shape for you, if it's in the right size. What if you don't have something like that? We're going to make something like that. Really easy. So I've turned this around because I'm a righty and I want to go on this side. So that's how it sits there. I want to bring it back a little bit anyway so that my last bit finishes about there. So I'm going to take about 1/2 inch off that one. So if I'm going to line that back up with my grid, let's have a look. So 1/2 inch is about there. I'd be quite happy with that. I can always take more off if I want to. So again, it's around about that. I'm actually going to line that ruler up with the fat line on that side. Right, there we go. So now when I turn that over, see how it finishes back a little bit, which gives it a proper opening, even though we're going to give this some shape. So we're going to look at this. We want some shape in this. We want a little bit of curve, and then we'd like a little bit of curve, and then we'd like a little bit of curve. Well, that's what I'd like. So the first thing you need to work out is how much curve you want to start with. Do we want just a little bit of curve? So I'm thinking a little bit of curve that would go about down there. So that measurement, I'm going to go about 3/4 of an inch. I'm doing it on this side so that we can actually see. Now 3/4 of an inch is about 2 centimetres. Very lightly, I'm going to rule that line with my pencil. Okay, I can rub these out later on. Then I want to go 1, 2, 3/8 of an inch, or about a centimetre. And I'm going to go that measurement again. Okay, we're going to go up here, 3/8 of an inch, or about a centimetre, and down again. And once again, I'm going to rule those 2 lines. Now, technically, you'll notice I say technically, they should all be nice and straight. Let's just have a look. Technically, they're fairly good. Yep, I'll cope with that. Right, so what we're now going to do is find our centre point. So our little trifold is about 7 inches, close to. So centre of that is 3.5. Now this is where you look around for things that you might have, that you could get a shape from. Now I have metal dies. I like ovals. You'll notice whenever I put my thumb marks in, I have oval ones as well. You could use circles. You could use your double-sided tape. You could use metal dies. If you've got nested metal dies, you can sit that on there, which will give you that initial shape. Okay, here's my halfway point, and I can trace around that. I've also got these little guys. Now, Fiskars put these out 20 years ago at least. I've had these for at least 20 years, I reckon. And they give me different size ovals. Now, all ovals are different. They're like, that's about the same width, but can you see how this is a narrow oval and this is a wider oval? All ovals are different. It's just one of those things. If you've got a Cricut machine or an electronic die cutting machine, you might be able to find something that will give you that template as well. I'm a bit useless on mine. So what I like with these is that they're gridded. Okay, you will probably find them in thrift shops and op shops these days, that sort of thing. But I can sit that there and line this up, because of so many grids, with my actual grid lines here. Okay, so this would be my centre marking for this oval right here. So if I put that on my midway point, and then I've got that and that. Look at that. I'm hoping you're low enough to actually see that. So if I come there, I'm only going down to that first line that we ruled. I've now got that. Right, so from that, I want to come out a little bit, and then I'm going to dot down, and then I'm going to come out a little bit, and then I'm going to tip down. Does that make sense? And that way you've got it mirror imaged. And in amongst all my bits and bobs, here was where I worked it out originally, if I haven't chucked it away now. Look at that. There's my original one where I drew and worked out what I was actually doing. So you can see, because my other one was longer, I drew around my oval, I went along, I dipped down, I went along, I dipped down. So we're going to do the same thing. Now, whether this one will give me, you've all seen me use this before, it's on my Ko-fi shop, if you want the template for it, and it's done in just a thick acetate. But what it gives me is a little curve. So I can sit that there, and I can dip down there. And then I can come along here, and I can dip down. And now this has just been taken, this curve has just been taken off a corner rounder. I can go back, turn it over that way, go back along there, around about the same distance. You can measure by all means. Or if you're like me, you can just go by eye from one to the other, bringing it back down. So as I said before, if you want a little template like this, it's free. The template's just as a download on my Ko-fi shop. So just go in and download it. It's not the greatest, but it gets me out of so many pickles because it's got so many little curves and things like that on there when I'm mirror imaging. And that's it. It looked, for me, this style is a little bit Art Deco. That's just me. So from that, you'll just cut it out. And that's where we're using scissors. That's where inking comes up a treat too. Because if you're a tad bit wobbly, don't fret. Because your inking will take the eye away from really straight lines that are not really straight. Okay, you'll notice when I'm cutting it out, I'm actually moving the paper. All my scissors are doing are going up and down like that. It's the paper that is moving as my scissors close. The longer your scissors with something like this, the better you'll get because you're not having to keep opening and closing your scissors. She says with fairly short scissors. Down to this one. Straight down to your line, and then all you've got to do is rub your lines out. But that's why we did it in pencil, supposedly light, so that we can rub them out. Look at that. So, can you now see that? How easy, really, was that? So we don't have an actual template to do that or anything else. It's just working out your lines and then joining them up. You can do that sort of thing with just your normal corner rounder. Just chomp a piece of manila folder or something a little bit heavier cardstock wise to get you that shape anyway. So now we're just going to rub out our pencil lines. You can do any shape you want, depends on how artistic you are. As you can see, mine are fairly basic because I'm not that artistic in all of those sorts of things. Right, there we go. So I'm going to ink over that one, which will take my eyes out of any wobbles that I've got on that as well, especially over that, because it's a bit like circles and they tend to be harder to cut. We tend to freak a little bit more when we're cutting them. I actually want to use a darker ink on that outside, which is the deep blue. So I'm going with the gathered twigs now on this one, which will just give it a slightly darker edge on this side. And I'm really putting it in to those ones. You won't see a great deal of it on this side because this side is so dark. But, yeah, I'll know it's there. You'll know it's there. I suppose that's all that really matters. There's that. Go down that one. Go down that one. So now what we want, apart from our inner bit, is some book pages, because we want to use up our book pages as well. As I said before, we've got lots and lots of gutted books. Come on, I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. I'm not inking these just yet because we still need to trim these ones up. So again, look, you could leave these like that, maybe just give them a corner round there. I want that same oval shape in here, but I'm going to bring them down a little bit and then I will oval it. Oval it. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So again, I'm going to pick up my oval template. Now I used this one before, but as you can see, it's not going to work with the width that I've got here. So I'm going to need one of the others that's going to come close. That one's a little bit off. Let's have a look at the big one. I'm going to have to go to the big one. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's over here because I'm only going up to about there. So I'm keeping this nice and straight with my little piece of paper that's underneath. I've got a line going up here and a line going up there. So as long as I've got that straight, I'm fairly close up there. That's where you want a fairly sharp pencil. I'm just going to go straight round like that. And there's my oval shape. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing at the top. I'm so sad that I'm assuming they don't do these anymore. They were around, as I said before, years and years and years ago. They are just the best tool for doing something like this, mainly because they do have all the grid lines on them, and you can find an area. I've got this in the ovals and I've got it in the circles. And I have the really large circles as well from scrapbooking days that are the 8-inch circles and everything. But I did have other shapes. They had the little tool that cut them, but I've only ever used them really as templates. Right, so I'm just going straight there. I'm going to cut around this. That's it. How hard was that? So we've used our sheet of scrapbooking paper. Yes, at the moment we've got a little bit left over, but those bits will become my pockets. If you've got scrapbooking paper or 12 by 12 paper and it's from a paper pad, a lot of the times they are only one-sided. Don't fret. If you're trying to get rid of them, you will come across a way to get rid of single-sided. Stamp backgrounds, permanent, an image, left, right and centre, all across the plain side of your scrapbook paper. Stencil it. Just give it a little bit of colour with your inks. Just go over it. There are lots of different ways to take away the starkness of... I know, I'm going to say I haven't rubbed my pencil line out, but that's okay. There are lots of different ways to take away the starkness of having single-sided paper. 99.999% of all my scrapbook paper is double-sided. So it's very rarely ever anything that I think of in fixing for when we've just come across a single-sided. But I know a lot of you comment and say, oh, I've only got single-sided, what can I do? That's all you need to do. Get your stamps out if you've got some stamps, get some stencils out, get just your inks out, get your sprays out. Just create your own backing paper for the back of it. Right, so I'm going that way, that way, that way. So now, there's that. I don't need to give you a template for this on Ko-fi because we've just gone through everything, and depending on the size that you want yours will depends on the journal and all the rest. So I could give you this size, doesn't mean it's going to work for your journals. So it's just a matter of where you score. And if it's easier, just do that 4-inch to 4-inch type thing, so the 2 scores down there. And then as I've done with this one, I've just trimmed them off. Look at that. How easy. So let's say we want to pop some bits and bobs on this one. As I said before, what I want to do with this one is I'm going to use this piece of paper. This book. Now, this is a gardening book, but there's also, and I love the colour, it's that, and I know the pictures are sepia, but it's all kind of, the paper's all kind of sepia. And look at these. These make the most beautiful tags. You put a backing on that and you've got tags and tucks already. Okay? So, and I think that's the original reason why I got this book. Beautiful pictures, black and white. They tuck up, they fold up and all the rest. So what we're going to do with this one now is I probably should gut that properly instead of breaking that so that I can get them out. Now, you can see that this is a sewn one. And I'll just tuck that over there. Like so. Put you there. All right, so you can see that this one is a sewn in signature. So you can see already that I've already started to take some out. All my gutted books have had sections taken out. So we're looking for the middle of this signature, which is just over here. So you can see that it's still bending that way. There it is. 1, 2, 3, and 4. No, it's not. Let's have a look and see where that's folding from. Oh, way in there. I think I was on it. I've had too many pages ripped out of this. All right. There it is. So you can see how that lifts up. That's where my signature is. Now this one is a very tight signature, but because the book is gutted already, they're easier to take out. So there's my threads. Okay. So you can see that this one, by the look of it, is a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. I'd say by the look of that. 1, 2. And 3. So that's got 2 more in there, hasn't it? Yes, it has. Of course it's a 5-hole, because they're just going to make things just a little bit more harder. I always gut my books with my quick unpick seam ripper. I've been informed that there are so many different things that this is called. I think mine is called, I've always called it a quick unpick because I was forever mucking up when I sewed and I'd be undoing seams with it. So mine is a quick unpick. Couldn't live without it, and it sits in my drawer that has all my book binding in it. So these will just now come out like that. So I want something with a nice, but up high, because again, it's got all these wonderful, oh, fruits on the Adelaide Plains. 4. There we go. Oh, I've got another one there. See how they just lift up? And I'm using that one. Simple as that. I'm just going to use that one. Right, put those ones aside. Now I just want a single page. But I like that. I love grids and graphs and all those sorts of things. But what I want is for in here, I'm going to trim that down there, and I reckon we're going to trim down there. Let's just have a look. I've got one of these ones that we've already taken out. We're going to trim off our excess where we've folded it, so they can be just trimmed up, made a little bit neater, like so, and round the other side. And then we can measure and mark them for what's required here, because this is going to go this way. And we'd already taken some out, so my pencil's over this way. So if that sits in there, and again, we don't want it to come all the way over into this crease. We want to bring it a little bit away from this crease. And that's where I'm going to have it. So I'm going to lift it up a little bit. And I'm going to keep it straight. I want to cut off that little bit, and I want to cut off that little bit. Just there. Right. So that's given me that. And I want this one behind it. So now I've got this size, I can work out about where I'm going. I do like this section down here, quite like that. Most books are not straight. Most book pages are not straight. Don't just see that and go there and trim so far back. Invariably, you'll end up in tears because you've lost certain words. I will tend to line up where I'm going there, and then I've got a straight edge to run off, and I can go from there. Old book pages, you need to be careful if you're using your blade. So now I've got one straight edge. I can't guarantee the rest is straight. So what I'm going to use is this. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go there. and there. Make 2 marks on that. Taking that up there. My pencil's getting a little bit blunt, so I'm going to the other side of my pencil lines. Straight down there. Right, so that's now the same width as that one. Beautiful. Now we just need to work out our height. I want to chop this about up here, and I'm going to go down like that. So I'm just going to do that now. Again, no great measurement. I want it somewhere down here and somewhere up here. So I'm just going to sit that down on an angle, and I don't want to take too much of this plane, so I'm going to start my angle from about there. Sitting there, putting that on an angle. I think I like that angle. Do now, just like that. No measuring, just do. Sit that where you want this to go, okay? I like it that height, maybe down a little bit to that height. This one's going to go down there like that, okay? This is where this is going to be cut off. The easiest way to do it is to either just pick the whole thing up and cut them off, or again, make a pencil mark. We're going to glue this guy on first, but first of all, I'm going to give myself my little finger hole, round about even, like so. I'll ink around him. I'm using the dark blue side, so I'm going with my gathered twigs, walnut stain, any of those really dark browns, just to show something up, especially because this is a little bit grungy. So we just want to pick up on those. I'm going to use my glue, going around my 3 edges. Don't go too wide. And across. Straight down like that. Lift that one up. I'm going on to this, where my pencil line is. There's my pencil line, so I'm just going to line it up with that. Line that one up with that. And up there. So now they are the one piece. Okay? What I can do is now just trim that across with a pair of scissors. Straight like that. Now that can be glued in. Once I've inked that, just to give that an edge. Because everything else is inked, I might as well ink that. It's just a matter then of working your way along your book. You're using one of the gutted books that you've got sitting around. You're using some of your scrapbook paper, and you can see that this doesn't take that long to actually do. That's just a matter of working out your pockets. What we're going to do now is I will show you how to make that notepad that slides in, and you can work out the rest. So to save raving and ranting on, you can work those out. They're all just pockets. You've all done pockets before, I'm sure. If not, there's nothing to them, okay? Holding that one up, I'm going to go from this side because I want it away from there a little bit. Just holding that down. That down, working my way up there. My glue's still a little bit wet, which gives me room to maneuver it. Give that a good push down. Easy as that. Right, so in here, we want to make a little notebook that'll slide in. A couple of different ways we can do that. I'm just looking for this. I've got coffee dyed packaging paper. Coffee dyed, tea dyed, it's just, yeah, it would be just packaging paper. So what we want to do is have a look and see what size. Yep, we know we've got 4 inches. But because of the folds, it might be a little bit smaller than 4 inches. See, so never assume that it is just 4 inches. So we don't want these really even 3/4 of an inch is a little bit too large. We're going to bring these in to about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 5/8, maybe 3.5. I'm thinking 3.5 or 9 centimetres. That might do us. So I've got a couple of sheets here. Well, I did. So 3.5 by 9 centimetres, round about there. So 1. You can give it as many or as little as you like. 2. 3.5, 9 centimetres. 3. Let's go again on this one. Go in, go in. I like these because they are very thin. They don't take up a great deal of bulk in your journals. I quite often do my actual pages in my signatures with these as well. 3.5, 9, 1, 2, and 3. So first things first, we've worked out this. We've worked out our notepad. What we need is our belly band as such. Sit you over there. Now, these are going to be too long. We know that. We want them fairly straight, like so. We want them to sit somewhere about there and finish somewhere about there. Okay. So we're going to see if the guillotine will cut all those at once. It would be lovely if it would. Might make a funny noise, but we'll see how we go. Because I'm just a little bit too lazy. All right, you ready? Oh, beautiful. Right. While I've got all those there, I'm just going to staple them now so I don't lose them. They're all nice and straight. Just a standard staple, like so. Just so I don't lose them while we're working on the next bit. Right, bit of manila folder. We're going to do this a couple of different ways. I'm going to use one piece as my belly band with some book page on it so that it's nice and sturdy. And my other one, yeah, so I can chop that off there, which was what? 3.5, wasn't it? Was the same size as my pages. For now. All right, and I want another piece that is going to be my belly band, like so. Right, so I've got this, and we'll probably trim this down a little bit further as well. If we have a look at our little piece, see, that's really wide. We don't want to go that width, so I'm going to, I told you I never do measurements. Oh, look, that's so off with measurements. Anyway, it's not funny. I'm going to take that back to about there. It doesn't need to be too wide because it's not holding up a great deal. If you're using really thick paper or something like that, you might want it a little bit more. But that's probably as good as we're going to need. Now, where's our book? Something like that would be awesome, wouldn't it? Pruning for amateurs. I love titles. Planting for winter and spring. What's a nice title in here? Hints. Asparagus. I'm thinking pruning for amateurs is working. No, don't want garden encyclopedia. So I'm liking pruning. I'm just going to tear that out because, no, because it's on that one anyway. It's the one that we already cut out of. Right. So, pruning for amateurs, we're just going to chop that bit out. I want that about there. That will fit in there just. So let's have a look and see how wide we need it. Yeah, I'm going to trim that down even further. So what I'm going to do to start with is just go above that writing so that that's nice and straight. Like so. Turning that over. Going about there. Let's have a look. Sorry, my it's fly. It's really, really hot here today. Really hot, and they've just all come from everywhere. Right. I like that. I like that. I love books. Just simple as that. This one I'm going to stick on, and then I can trim it up to size. I want glue. I'm just going to use my glue stick to attach that on. You can see how hot it is by the way the glue stick comes out. Right. Straight down. Oh, there's so much glue under there. Right, how wide do we want this? A little bit there, a little bit there. Again, no great measurements. I can trim it down further. A little bit more on yes. Yep. Right. So we'll just cut the rest of that out. We'll use those scissors because I can't find the other ones. And it's too wet to use my blade with. It'll just want to tear the old book page. Fingernails full of glue. Right, give that a light ink, just to give it some colour. Make it stand out a little bit more. Right, so that is going to fit in here. This one is going to sit in here beautifully. What we want to do now is make a cover for this. Okay, so once again, what we're going to need is our scoring board. If I shut that drawer, I can then find said scoring board. Now I only want a little, probably half an inch. Half an inch will go a little bit more, just to give it a good solid area. Okay, that's it. That was our scoring done. You could have just folded it over, it's up to you. Fold that over, give that a good push down. Ink along the top of that. Down there. Right, that's our front, okay? Now, it's better if you're going to stamp on it, to stamp on it now, but to hurry things up, we'll pretend it's stamped on or it's done or whatever else. So that is this bit. That's going to sit over there like that. So it should cover all of those, right? This is not good because it is only a little bit wider. You're not going to have room to glue. So the easiest way around that, get your ruler, get your pencil. I want the little one. I'm actually going to sharpen that because I have a real thing about non-sharp pencils because I can't get a lovely fine line. Right. All right. So we're just going to measure down here where this one is. I'm just going to put a really fine line along there. That's the same bit as that. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to come in about there. So, I don't know, 2 centimetres? Let's go in 2 centimetres. So there. I'm going to do the same on this side. 2 centimetres, which is about 1 to 3/4 of an inch. I know, one day I'm going to do a video with just one lot. Metric or numeric, I don't know. But it's just, you know, I'm a bit of a worry. We're going to cut down there. You can use your scissors if you like. Straight down that one. Straight down that one. And then along there, so that we're leaving that centre section in. There and there. Again, we've got those bits taken out. We've got that, okay? We want to ink the rest of that now that we've cut that out. That's our back bit. We're going to use our double-sided tape, which I've got sitting just here, because I find double-sided tape is a tad bit better for when I'm applying notebooks. I just find that I have, you know, more confidence that it's all going to hold that paper in without it seeping through the paper. So one at the bottom, one at the top of that fold, like so, and again on the back piece, because that's the front, this is the back. So one just under the fold, and one at the bottom of that. We don't want any down here. So one just straight across there. Right. Give that all a good push. We're going to go from our bottom piece first. So we're going to pull these ones out. We're going to sit that in there like that. Move that so that you can see. We're going to pop him right up in there, as even as you can, just a little bit way down from the top. Give that a good push. And we're going to peel off these ones, that one and that one. Fold that over. There's the front, there's the back. Now, is this my little, the easiest way to put this in? This is going to go under that. So slide that under there, sitting it up so that it's even under there, like that. Put a little bit of glue here. Oh, that glue's going everywhere. Doesn't matter if it comes in a little bit further, because we've given ourselves space for the notepad to go down. So there and there, which means that there's enough glue on there to hold it. Oh, look at that. Hang on. Right. And then back with our little trifold. Sitting that there. That's in here like this, holding it up nice and tight, keeping your hands on that bit. Now we can work out where we're going to put it so that we're evened. Push that down. I can now slide that bit out while I'm pushing that down. Simple as that. There's that one. That will just slide under there and hold on to it. You know it's going to sit in the right place. You haven't done it too low, too high, or anything else, because we've sat it with that as one piece when we've glued it down. Hope you've enjoyed that. That's given you all that with those. There's another one that is actually done. Same way. There he is. Okay. And it just literally slides in. There he goes. In like that. like that. That size, that size, that size, and da-da-da-da, over here, that size. Hope you've enjoyed them. Start using up your scrapbook paper. Start using those gutted books. Find all the bits and pieces that are in there and you'll be fine. Thanks, guys. Bye.